our parents are going to die. Not to minimize it, but it's an experience we're all going to go through. Every single person is slated for the same fate. Like, you live long enough, your parents will die. You're not special in the sense that you had something happen to you that's not going to happen to everyone else, and so you get to treat everyone however you want to. So I think some people in their grieving process, they can forget that there's other people involved and they have responsibilities. And
which I think that anybody's loved one that's passed, wouldn't want them to blow up their lives. I mean, we're going to go through it, like you said, and it's going to be hard.
Beyond the perfect we discover through our flaws, we complete each other. Better than perfect we stay. Through every fault we find our way.
All right, welcome back to the Better Than Perfect podcast, where every week we share with you the same exact thing. It's like, don't do that. Welcome back to the Better Than Perfect podcast, where every week we share with you how two imperfect people helping each other grow equals one better than perfect relationship.
See, we're imperfect.
That's right. Trying to go too fast. Got caught on it again. But yeah, no, this week we're going to talk about how to deal with the grief when one person in the relationship is going through grief. So, loss of a significant person in their life.
Yeah.
That's usually where the grief comes from, but it could be other things, that can happen. And, how do you act when you're in that state? And then how do you respond to someone who's going through that, where it's something that's kind of outside of your control? So,
yeah. I think, unfortunately, probably the best way to talk about this would probably be like when your mom passed away.
Yeah.
Because that is a very significant person in anyone's life. And we were there, in Florida for a long time to be with her. And, she was at the house that we were all staying at together. And it was very intimate process.
Yeah.
And, we were there with your dad and your sister, and a few other people were coming too. And I just wanted to be able to support you guys in whatever way.
Yeah.
During and after, and then allowing you to have the space to process it, however you wanted to process it in that way.
Yeah.
And, for me, I never wanted to force you, but I also wanted you to feel like you could talk about it.
Right. Yeah.
Which is hard because it's I do feel like kind of afterwards you didn't talk a lot about it.
Yeah.
And I didn't want to force you to, but I wanted you to be able to have that option, and even now if you have moments where you're feeling it, I want you to be able to talk about those things. And so I think that it's hard because I think if you were drowning in it, that would have been
different. Yeah.
A different experience, but I also would have understood at the same time, if that makes sense. I feel because I did that when I lost my grandmother, I just drowned in it for a week, and I was single at the time. So I didn't have somebody that I was living with or involved with that.
I did give you a call.
That. You did. But I'm just saying it is different when you're in a romantic relationship, and it's different because what if you did go into this place where you didn't want to get out of bed and things like that. That's where I was at.
Right.
And you're the one though that's providing for us. What if it was hard for you to get out of that? I would have understood all those things.
Right.
But I think it would have been incredibly difficult to try to figure out how to help you out of it without making you feel like you couldn't still grieve. Does that make sense?
Yeah. I think coincidentally enough, that his and her show that we watched, whatever it was,
on
featured,
Netflix.
Yeah.
Sponsor us, Netflix. We'll talk about all your movies and shows.
Netflix is doing podcasts now, so but that there was an interaction with them in the rain when they like address this issue, which I thought was like actually really good. I mean, some of the I won't go spoiler, but I won't do the spoiler, but some of the things didn't make sense, but that was like some really good scripting. Like that was a very good dialogue that the two had because essentially what had happened, and I don't think this is much of a spoiler because, but is that they had lost their child, right? So from like sudden infant death, it's, whatever, when she had, they had let her mother watch the child and the child had died. No fault of the mother. Hard to, okay, I won't say anything. But anyway, the thing that happened was that after that occurred, then she left, just disappeared for like a year. Didn't say anything, didn't say like, no one could track her down. And he ended up losing his job because his wife went missing and he's like the detective, right? And all these things. And so, then she just shows up. And basically like, from his perspective, he's like, what the, like this, you just freaking left, And at first you're like, okay, yeah, what the fuck, it's like she obviously, but then when you actually hear her perspective of why she left, it kind of makes more sense. Like you can see both sides. That's why the thing is called His and Her. It's really, I think the entire thing is based on that one conversation. That's the entire point of the entire series or movie or whatever you want to call it, is that one thing.
Like
because
their perspective
when you see her perspective of it, and it's that she wanted to grieve the child, and he was kind of trying to help her. Trying to get her out of the funk. And she felt like the grieving that she had for the child was all she had left of the child.
Right.
And so, and I think that's just an important perspective, is that when someone's grieving, it's like your instinct is to try and help them because you want to, take them out of that pain. But in reality, like, that grieving is all that they have left of that. Like they don't want that to disappear quickly. They don't want to be pulled out of that because that's what they have left. And eventually they will come out of it, but your best assistance, like what had forced her away and made her feel like she had to get away, like she had to, it felt like to her that he was trying to take away the last thing that she had of their child. And he was just trying to help her. But if you think about like what would be the better thing to do would be to allow the person to have what they have, to go through that process and to not try to get them out of it, but instead support them through it, which is what you talked about. So
yeah. I'm probably going to cry this whole time.
I know. It's just sad.
It is hard. And, like, it's like all the love that you felt for that person has nowhere to go. That's what they call the grief, because it feels so heavy and sad, and it is. And like you said, it has, everybody does it in different ways, but everybody has to feel what they feel, especially with significant people in their lives, like, and whatever stage of life you are in, and accepting your new normal of life, because that's also hard. I think that's also part of the process, is you have to accept that that person is not there anymore. And that's one of the hardest things, is that so many like little things we take for granted, that we can't have those things anymore.
Yeah.
And we can't hear their voice. Like, I know I saved like voicemails that my grandma had sent me when she passed away. And, and like I said, being there, like with your family for your mom.
Yeah.
Like, I just wanted to help you guys. in whatever way that I could. And I know that that still wouldn't help as far as like what you guys were going to have to go through and process and your new normal of life. But I just wanted to be able to support you and your dad and your sisters in whatever way that I could.
Yeah,
because
and you did.
you know, it's incredibly hard. And your sister was dealing with stuff with her dog at the same time. Like, and I went with her to like deal with that during it.
Yeah.
Because I think too, like you were talking about with the show, I think that like people do want to be alone with their emotions sometimes and like how they handle the things. But they also want to know that people are there.
Right.
Because it can feel like you've lost so much in those moments that even if you want to have, like you want to feel the grief and you want to be in it, you do want to know that people are there. And that's, you know, that's where if you're the supporting partner, like telling your partner that you're there and like you can feel whatever you want to feel and not trying to like fix it or, you know, like I know we want to be comforting, like, you know, and I do think that the people that are gone from our lives still somewhat can see what we're doing, even if we can't see what they're doing. Not everybody might believe that, but, you know, like trying to just comfort your partner without trying to take away their feelings or their emotions. And supporting them the best way that you can. And sometimes that's asking them like, hey, do you want to talk about this? Or if they don't want to, be like, hey, I don't want to talk about this right now. Or like, this is kind of like making me think about these things and I'm upset. Like honoring whatever those things are. But I do think, again, like it is hard, like the His or Horse show. Like I don't really know what I would have done maybe differently if you had gotten to a place where like you didn't want to get out of bed and you didn't want to work or you didn't want to whatever. Like,
well, and that's the tough thing is because like, I mean, because as like if you're going through grief, it doesn't give you excuse to do whatever the hell you want to do. Right. Like it doesn't give you excuse to like not do your duties. It doesn't give you excuse to treat people poorly. Right. It's like,
that's true.
You can have that reaction more so when someone's not giving you the space or like trying to force you through the emotions. I can get that, but it still is on you to like, even though you're bearing something that's a heavy burden to bear, like you still have to show up and still have to do the things. Yeah, I mean, maybe you take some time off of work or whatever, but like if you're a parent, you still parent. Like you don't get to be like, okay, like I'm just gonna stay in bed all day and my kids are just gonna run around. Like no, you got to like show up and be a parent because that's what you know. And the thing about it too is it's like not to minimize it, but it's an experience we're all gonna go through. Like you know, we talked about it the other day or other night where it's like our parents are going to die. It's going to happen. Like we're going to deal with it. A lot of, you know, relatives like, or I mean, something can happen to us, but like, I'm just saying like we every single person is slated for the same fate. Like you live long enough, your parents will die and you'll have to deal with that. So it's like, the reason why I say that is not to take away from those things, but to like, you're not special in the sense that you had something happen to you that's not going to happen to everyone else. And so you get to treat everyone however you want to. That's not like you have to recognize it happened to you, but it's going to happen to everyone else, or it has already happened to them. They've already dealt with this experience. And so, you know, again, not to minimize it but it's just because I think some people in their grieving process, they can forget that there's other people, you know, involved in, you know, and they have responsibilities and things like that. So, you know, it was a weird one for me. Like it's a bad example for me. I don't know. It's hard to say because with my mom, what was happening was I was also going through the grieving process of the divorce situation, right? You know, when your life changes, when you've been in a 20-year relationship and family, and that was happening at the same time. And then also with my mom having Parkinson's over, it was hard because she was already in some ways gone. Like, she wasn't totally, but like I had lost her gradually over 10 years.
Yeah.
And so this was the final, but it wasn't, so the grieving process wasn't as much for me because it wasn't like all of a sudden you have this person, then they're gone.
Yeah.
It was more like she disappeared, like faded out of existence is the best way I could put it. So it's still a sad thing, but it's drawn out over 10 years. And so that grieving process was drawn out over 10. I think maybe my sisters processed it in a different way, in a more immediate way. But for me, that's how I felt. Like it's hard to even remember, which in a way makes it even worse, is that you can't even remember how this person was. Like now I have those memories more so than I did, but at that time, like because how she was with the Parkinson's affecting her was so present, those memories overrid the other ones.
Yeah.
But now from a zoomed out perspective, I can access those other memories of who she actually was before the Parkinson's took it away from her. But but yeah, I mean, you showed up and you gave me the space. Like I said, I didn't go through a major grieving process because it had happened over years, and I also had other trauma in my life that was affecting me at that time as well. But I even during that process, I still shot videos while we were there. Like I still answered my email, like did the things that I needed to do because I'm, like life goes on after this, and I can't just drop my responsibilities or just treat people poorly just because I'm going through something. So yeah, so it's a balance. You know what I'm saying? It's like and I don't know, like if you got to a point like let's say that you have someone who won't get out of bed and they're just like moping around and they're, for over an extended period of time.
I mean, that was me for like a week until I had to be like, my grandma would be so upset with me if she found out I've been in this bed for a week.
Look, a week is I think that's understandable. Like I think if you take off from work for a week, if it's a major person in your life, and obviously there's certain things like if you're a parent or whatever, you have to take care of, you can't excuse it, but if you like don't feel like doing much or getting out of bed for a week and grieve, like I think that's fine. It's just a matter of when it starts to go 2 weeks, 3 weeks, a month, some people several months of not getting out of bed, not doing what they're supposed to be doing. I think at that point, if that's happening with your spouse, then you do have to, maybe they need the other kind of love, which is the harder love, which is to say like, look, I know you're going through this. I'm here to support you. But, in some ways, you're kind of being selfish because like, this is not a unique experience that you are only going to go through, but like you have responsibilities. Like you need to get your life together and, you're not to give them the kind of little bit of the tougher love, to be like, hey, you're turning what happened to someone else into your experience, and you being the victim and having the victim mindset, and you got to actually start to do, like, you can grieve as long as you want, but you need to take care of the responsibilities that you have, and not treat people poorly just because you're going through a thing, and so. I mean, I haven't had to go through that conversation, but I'm sure that would be a hard one.
Yeah, which I think that anybody's loved one that's passed, wouldn't want them to like blow up their lives. And I think, like I said, that's what really helped me when I was in it, be like, this is what she would want.
Yeah.
But yeah, we're going to go through it, like you said, in other ways. So it's going to be hard, but
yeah. And I mean, that's the thing about like, even just about the reality of being a parent is that you now have this human that's out there that, it's not unlikely that they'll die. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like before you, like it's, I mean,
like no parent wants to have to face that, but it's like a possibility. Like you said, with any living thing.
They're driving cars when they're 16 years old. Like they're doing things like they don't have, like they're in risky situations that you have no control over. So you might have to deal with that. You know what I mean? Like, but you have to kind of, and I think that's one of the things too, is just to like, it helps, Memento Mori, you know, they remember your mortality, but not just yours, but everyone else. Like, I think it's useful. I think what helped me too, also with my mom, is that I knew it was coming.
Yeah.
And like, we've had the conversation. I'm like, our parents will die. Like it might seem like a morbid conversation, but it's an important one to have, and to just focus on that, not to focus your whole life on that, but to realize that, okay, your parents will die. It will happen. Like like you will die. It will happen. Right. But, if you have a child, that child could die, and you might have to deal with that, and that could happen. Or if you have a spouse, your spouse may die, and that could happen. But those are important things. I think it will help you to not be hit as hard by the thing when you've already sort of,
I don't know.
I mean,
yes,
it will help you. Yeah. To deal with it.
I'm just sensitive.
I know, but it doesn't mean that you're not going to feel anything, but it will help you to be able to, even as you're feeling the thing, to go on with life. Yeah, because you've already pre-accepted it, right?
Yeah.
It's the struggle. I think that's what puts someone in that downward spiral, is that they're in denial of it.
Well, I think, like you said, there is something, because like even with my grandma, she had breast cancer that turned into bone cancer, and you know, with your mom, she had Parkinson's, and I had another relative pass away recently who was going through cancer. And it's like, you do have some peace knowing they're not in pain anymore. And they're not going through the things that they went through that took so much out of them. And like, you have that like sort of peace. But I think that if it's like abrupt and like a car accident or something, there is a different sort of processing to it.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, I think so.
Like how it happens also affects the grieving process, I think, because at least for me, like with my grandma and like my other relative that recently passed away, I'm like, at least they're not in pain anymore and dealing with cancer treatments and surgeries and all of this stuff. But like when it's also abrupt, though, even in those situations, it's like, could they have had more time? It's like the mystery of it. Or like, especially if it's a child and it's a car accident or something, it's like they had their whole life ahead of them, you know? And I believe that everything happens for a reason, even the bad stuff. But it's hard.
Yeah. And I think the big thing is just like we said, like, you know, I did that movie or show, I don't know what you call it, but the
limited
Netflix
series.
The limited series on Netflix is a great, like that dialogue. I think that really nails it. I mean, and that's the thing is like, but it's both perspectives, right? Because it's like you have to allow a person to grieve and to not try to push them through it or get them over it.
Right.
At the same time, like I said, they have to do their responsibilities. They can't just check out of life. Like that's not fair. It's not fair to put 100% burden on the other partner, like to do everything while they're going. You know, obviously you should try to help them as much as possible, but at the same time, you can't just check out. You can't just leave. You can't just be like, you know, you got to talk about it. And even if someone is pushing you through it, then you got to kind of say, hey, I need the space to. Like, I want to go through this process, you know? Yeah. So it's hard for me too, I think, because, I mean, like, just me in general, I don't want to call it like I don't want to call it a sociopath, but, but I tend to be more towards that. Like, I don't think I'm a sociopath. I don't think that's but I tend to be more towards that. So like, you know,
more towards a sociopath.
More towards the sense that like things that happen don't hit me as hard. You know what I mean? Like I don't process things that way. You know what I mean? I'm
Unless
more.
I tell you to put hamburger seasoning on the hamburgers.
Yeah, but
No, I'm just kidding.
No, but I'm more detached in that way.
Yeah.
I don't know exactly how to describe it, but yeah. So it's like I can't make myself feel a bunch of grief. Like when my mom passed, I tried to like experience the gravity of the situation, but nothing I could do could make me like bring me to tears about it. You know, it's like at different times I've cried and been sad about it, but
Yeah.
I don't. It's hard to describe the situation. It's not that I don't have any kind of empathy. It's just that it doesn't hit me the same way as
And you
a lot
don't
of
feel
people.
like you've repressed it or anything?
No, like I've tried to explore and try to find, but most of life is kind of like that, you know. Not that I don't get upset or cry or get, you know, it's like, but I don't know, it's just a little bit different. So
It's interesting.
yeah,
Because I feel like I've accepted it. Like,
yeah,
I have a big, like, extended family. This is not, like, the first loss. Like, it's probably my grandma was, like, the first close person to me that I've lost.
yeah,
But even, like, knowing that we all are going there, and I even believe in life or, like,
yeah,
something after this.
Yeah.
I don't want to say life after death because I don't think that. I mean, maybe
But
we
do you
come back
believe
here.
in life after love?
Okay, sure. But no, I believe that like we'll see these people again.
Yeah.
I do believe that. But it still makes me sad.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it is still a heavy thing, you know.
Yeah.
So.
I don't
But-
think you're a sociopath though. But I think that maybe you just
like I said-
process it differently. And like you said, your mom, she was going
Yeah.
through so much
Yeah,
stuff
I think
over a
there's-
long period
yeah.
of time.
Yeah,
You know, that's like different. Because I don't know if maybe you would have the same reaction if you lost someone else in a different way.
yeah. I don't know. It's hard to say. It's like it's even just with my dad now. Like I know that sometime he smokes, he drinks every night. Like it's amazing that he's made it. You know, like it really is. Yeah, no, but I hope that he does. But I've also in some way felt that I've been losing him slowly as well. And after my mom passed and things like, I feel like we all kind of lost him to a degree. Like he's not the same. Like he lost so much of himself when my mom passed that the who he was is already kind of lost
Which maybe
to me. So it's like when he does pass, I also feel like the same. Like not to say that there won't be a grieving process, but
Right.
it won't be a slap in the face. And you know, like again, it'll be a similar thing to my mom. At least that's how I, you know, how I see it.
I think that makes sense because I feel like if you feel like you're losing somebody slowly, it's like by the time it happens, you've like already had that time to accept it.
Yeah.
But when it's abrupt, you don't have that. And I feel like it is different because I feel like if maybe, you know, he hadn't went through what he went through and it was different, you might feel differently.
Yeah.
But I understand what you're saying because maybe it's just a more drawn out process and that's why you're able to process it differently.
Yeah.
Because you've been in these instances where it is kind of more drawn out in a way. And even now, like you said with your dad, sometimes he'll say certain things that's like almost like preparing you.
Yeah, I know.
Like you're almost being like prepared for it.
Yeah, which in a way is a good thing, but not to like. But there's a thing like, okay, so there's like Memento Mori, which is like to remember that you'll die, like to focus on like to look at that and you know to focus on not to focus, but to remember the mortality that we all have that's in our lives. But then there's also people who count themselves dead before it's like they've already counted their life as gone.
Done. Yeah.
And it's hard because I understand that psychology a little bit, because I've been tempted to kind of fall into that psychology at times where it's like, okay, I messed up my arm and my leg,
what,
and
it's
I
just
tore
all
my
over.
Well, but it's like, and like, and I'm 45 now, and I'm not 30 anymore, and it's like, okay, well, it's like, like there's a part of you that can be like, it's just
downhill from here.
Yeah, it's like yeah, like you're, but it's like, so you can kind of say, well, what's the point of going to the gym? Like, you're not going to be as good as you were before, or what's the point of running, or like, but
because that's
the burying yourself before you've like.
Right.
As long as I've got like like even in the gym this morning when I was looking at my arm, that I was like, okay, well, I'm going to be like, I might have a deformity in my arm, but I'm going to be the most like jacked version of everything that I can work through. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm going to, like, maybe my leg will never be the way that it was before, but it doesn't matter. I'm going to do I'm going to be the best version of what I can be.
Yeah.
That's the will to live, like to continue to, so I think I didn't want to go into too much of a tangent, but like there's a difference between remembering that you are mortal and you will die, and all people in your life will die eventually, like all relationships eventually end, versus focusing so much on that or thinking that it's already happened. It's like, just because something is going to happen doesn't mean that it has already happened,
Well, and I think that every day we wake up, honestly, is a gift. And I think the people that we've lost would want us to appreciate those things. Like, they know that we care about them, but they don't want us to just not go through with our lives because they're not here anymore. They want us to continue to do the things that we're passionate about and to continue enjoying life to the fullest. Like, I don't know anyone who would think that their relative or whoever they lost would want them to just give up. Like you said, they would want them to experience this life and all the good and the bad, because honestly, the bad makes the good even better, and it's just a part of life. But I truly don't believe that they would want anyone to just give up and, allow them not being here to prevent them from living their lives. Like, they want, even though they're not here anymore, they want us to keep getting up in the morning and keep doing the things that we love and remember them, but create the new normal, unfortunately.
And I think it's like, I think it's also important, just as, in a relationship, that you're prepared for what your partner's going to go through, right? It's like in some, like, that some day whenever it will be, is that my dad will pass, and I'll like, and so it's like, I know that, like, Toto's not going to be around forever, and that's going to be
around forever.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, but like, I've already kind of thought about, like, what am I going to do in that situation as you're going through that thing, because it's going to hit you hard. Or that when your parents go, I mean, that's going to be a very traumatic experience for you, and like, but I have to be prepared to deal with that.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because it's going to happen, and you're going to go through it, and I'm preparing myself now for how will I help you in that situation, but I think it's important to do, because it's just important for us to recognize for ourselves, but also for our spouse, that our spouse is going to go through that thing, and then what is going to happen? How are you going to handle it? How are you going to help them? If you've pre-thought these things out, then I think it makes it a little bit easier. So
yeah, but I think too, just supporting them, you know, and like kind of letting your partner lead the way with how they want to handle this. Like you said, obviously, if it reaches into like 3 months they haven't gotten out of bed, that's different.
Yeah.
But I think like letting your partner take the lead on how they want to handle this and then just supporting them is the best way to do it, because like I said, it's going to be different for everybody. And I honestly think that each instance is different, because each person in our life is different. Each way that people pass away is different. And so I think that there is no cookie cutter way, you know, because you just don't know how you're going to respond. Yeah. But you can let the person that is going through it grieve how they want to, and then you just support them in whatever way you feel is best to do that. And not to like step on their toes, like let them, you know, if they're like, I need to go on a walk, you know, by myself, let them go on a walk. Or I'll be like, do you want me to come? And if they're like, yes, then go. And if they were like, no, then let them go on their own. Like, you know, kind of communicate with them. Don't push them, but be open with them.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I agree. I think, I forgot what else I was going to say about that, but I think that, that basically covers.
Yeah, I mean, it's a complicated thing.
I was going to say, like, sometimes also you don't know what's going on beneath the surface, because someone might be appearing really strong and handling things, but just that doesn't mean that there's not something going on underneath that that they might not even be aware of as well, right? You know,
then do you think you should ask about it or allow them to kind of process it? Because that's a good.
I mean, ultimately, well, here actually, this is a good part of this to talk about, which is that if your partner's going through grief, they do owe you to talk about it. Like, they can't be like, I'm not going to talk about it, or I don't want to talk about it, because you're still in a relationship. And like, I think the thing is that if you cannot rely on each other when you're going through stuff, then you don't really have a relationship. You know what I mean? Like, because when you're going through the worst things in your life, the person you should be bringing into that should be your partner. Otherwise, you're probably with the wrong person. Like, or you need to fix a relationship. And so I think both, like, as a person that is grieving, like, you do owe it to your partner to share your feelings and talk about the thing and go with on. Like, you can't be like, I just want to deal with this on my own. That's not okay. Like,
what if you don't want to burden somebody with it?
It's not. It shouldn't be a burden, and it shouldn't feel like a burden. And it's like, again, you know, like it's a selfish thing in a way to not want to burden someone with it. Even though it sounds like it's not a selfish thing, it's like, because you're denying them the opportunity to give to you, which is, you know, it's a counterintuitively selfish thing to do that, right? It's like when someone gives you a gift and you or a compliment and you refuse it because like it's like a selfish thing to do. It doesn't feel like a selfish thing, but it is, because we all want to be able to give and to help. And so when you deny someone that ability, it actually kind of goes into the whole thing where we got the question about the birthday from what?
Oh, King.
Yeah, about a partner not wanting to celebrate their birthday, or and it's like, no, that's actually a selfish thing to do. Even though you don't mean it that way, it seems like a selfish thing, but it's a selfish thing because you're denying the other person the ability to give you happiness, or to comfort you, or whatever, like to express like a positive emotion towards you. Like you're shutting yourself off from them in that case, because it's not just about you, like like, and that's the thing is, going back to kind of the grieving thing, is that you do need to share it, and it is okay, if your partner's going through grief, to be like, hey, like it, I do want to talk to you about this, like, and to, because otherwise it is like they're not coming to you. Like, it's important that in a relationship, when we're in pain, that we come to each other for support. If we're not doing that, then we're closing off. It's either you're either coming to or you're closing off. And so I think that is actually important. So
Well, like you said too, it's like you should want the comfort and support from your partner. And like I said earlier, even though I did say if someone wants their alone time, I agree with you actually that you should lean on your partner for that stuff, even if it feels hard to do. But like I said earlier, you know, like even if you feel like you just want to be alone dealing with your emotions, there is still a part of you that wants someone there. And so like you said, allow your partner to be there for you because you want it deep down and you need it probably in that instance. And your partner wants to do that for you.
Yeah.
And you need to be open with them and share that side. Because I think that's what I was a little afraid of too after your mom passed away, that you didn't really talk to me very much after and you didn't really talk as much about it. And I did get afraid that maybe you were like suppressing it in a way.
Yeah.
But you have brought it up, you know, here and there when it comes up for you. And I'm glad that you do that.
Yeah.
I think too, like we talked a lot about losing people in our lives, but you mentioned it too when you were going through the divorce thing. I think that we also grieve things in our lives as well too, like endings of things. Like you said, like you had to grieve, I'm sure in some degree, that your leg and your arm aren't going to be the same, you know? And like sometimes those things are also really hard. Like it's not the same as losing somebody, but it is still grief.
It is, because
it's grieving. The thing that it's not anymore.
When something is permanently changed and it can never be undone, that's where grief comes in.
Right.
Any situation that occurs, and that can happen. There's a lot of situations where that can occur in life. You know, like I said, a divorce, a loss of function of the body in some way. You know, a loved one, obviously, but yeah, and it all those things still apply. So
right, you still have to be there and allow your partner to be there for you, and there is like an acceptance that you need, because I feel like what you mentioned too about like if you just already feel like you're at death's door and you've kind of given up, like that's no way to really live. Like you have to accept your new normal and go on from there. And it's the same with losing somebody. Like it's a hard new normal to accept, especially when you've lost a person in your life and you have that hole there.
Exactly. Yeah.
But you do have to accept it, and you have to, you know, realize that this is like another chapter. It's a different chapter than all the other chapters, but it's just a new chapter. And like I said, I believe that all the people that aren't here anymore would want us to continue our books, not just stop.
Exactly.
You know? So.
Yeah. It's a hard thing to go through, but yeah. But like I said, you do have to go through it together as a couple. I think that's really the key.
Yeah.
Because, you know, if I look at like, it would, you know, the day that, you know, you have a major loss in your life, it would hurt me more than the death of someone in my life, to have you be going through an immense amount of pain and suffering and for you not to come to me. That would feel like a second death to me. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like a more severe one, because, you know what I mean? So like that would feel like a separation that would be worse, you know? And I think that's the thing to think about is like, you know, a lot of times when things happen to us, our instinct is to be like, I just want to deal with this. I just like, leave me alone. But one, it's actually not good for you anyway, right? To just isolate. Isolating will make you more depressed. But when you have a partner, like you have to go through all things in life together, because you've chosen a journey, like for good or for bad, like your happiness and your sadness, to face those things together.
That's true.
That's important. Like you don't want to be shut out when your partner's going through. You want them to come to you when they're in pain, you know, and vice versa. So.
Yeah. And I think as the spouse or partner to the person that's going through grief, it is a delicate balance. But like I said, if you view it more as like allowing them to feel their emotions and then just supporting them through what they need, that's the best way to handle it. Because you also don't want a partner, if you're grieving and they're like, tell me what's wrong. Tell me what's wrong. Like, well, like, it's okay. Or, you know, like, you don't want them to like be pushy and like the show you were talking about, be like, oh, well, like, it'll be fine. It'll be fine. Like, like there's a way to say that without just saying like, it'll be fine. Like, you know, they're better now or something, like more abruptly. Like there's a way to give that sort of feeling without saying those things. And that's actually more beneficial, is to be present, because that makes the person feel like they'll be fine, because they have you there to support them, and whatever they're going through, that actually makes them feel like they'll be fine. Rather than be like, oh, you'll be fine. Like, it'll be okay. Time heals all wounds, or whatever people say, you know, like those things.
And it's, I mean, a lot of it is how it's said. Like the same sentiment, like you said, could be said. Like even if you said, you know, if you tell someone time heals all wounds versus, you know, versus saying that, you know, in time, you know, this is going to get easier and I'm with you every step of the way. It's still saying time heals all wounds. Right. But it's saying it in a way that, you know, that comes from,
isn't dismissive
feeling. But the whole thing is just like, even just a good metaphor for, or example of like the dealing with someone going through grief is just good for dealing with emotions. Anyone going through any kind of emotions in a relationship, you know, it's the same principles still apply as to,
that's true,
not trying to force them through the emotion or try to change the emotion, but to empathize where are they at right now and be with them. And it's like, it's almost like the best example I can give is well, actually, you know, actually a good one is that that movie, What Dreams May Come, you know, the Robin Williams one, where he has to like go into the house where his wife is and like be there with her in order to get her out. You can't just pull a person out. You can't just be like snap out. Like you have to be there with them and then guide them back out to the light. And that's the thing, is like, unless you're willing to be there with them, that's because then you're creating the separation yourself. But that's just for any kind of emotional state that someone is going through. You got to meet them where they're at first.
That's true.
Understand, empathize, and then you can guide them to a better place. You can change the emotion, but it's like it's a with them, as opposed to, you know, I'm going to fix you in some way, you know, and that's because everyone is resistant to having their emotions fixed or patched, but people aren't resistant to being someone being with them with the thing and then guiding them to a better place. So
that's true.
Yeah.
It's very true.
Yeah. All right. I think we covered all that we can really cover with this one, but
yeah, I feel like this is hard because, again, like everyone grieves in different ways, but I think you've given some really good advice. Hopefully I have too, in between the crying.
You did.
But it's hard.
It is. And everyone's going to go through it. That's the thing, is like, so you have to be, if you're in a relationship, you are going to go through grief yourself, and your partner is going to go through grief, and you're going to have to deal with it.
That's true.
You know, the worst thing that can happen will happen. Like, I mean, it's not, you know, but, you know, that's where we're all fated to, so, and everyone in our life. So it's important to know that and be prepared for that, so that you can handle the situation, but not live your life in fear of that. That's the other piece of it.
Hard.
Yeah. Yeah.
But no, you're right.
Yeah.
And it's a hard thing to go through. It's, like I said, I think it's just the abrupt change that happens. If it's a person you've lost, if it's something in your life that's permanently different, like you said, like that abrupt change, that like seeming like your whole life is like completely changed in some way, yet weirdly the same. It's very complicated thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's why I think, like you said, a lot of the advice you gave and I gave it's from a more simplified place.
Yeah.
You know, accepting that this is the fate of everyone and, you know, but also just being with someone and supporting them and, you know, allowing them to grieve how they need to grieve.
Yeah.
Is really the best things that you can do.
Yeah.
All the other stuff you just figure out along the way. It's all the same thing, but just different versions.
Yeah. All right. Well, with that, we'll end the episode. And if you have a question for us, you can email us at betterthanperfectpodcast@gmail.com or visit the website betterthanperfectpod.com. And like and subscribe and
share.
Yeah. Yeah. Especially, you know, if it can be helpful to someone. Like, I mean, that's the purpose. Like, I think we don't say it really, maybe it's worth saying, is that like all the content that we're creating here, it costs us money every single month to make, and obviously time, but like the purpose of why we're doing it is to help people.
Yeah.
So
I don't cry on camera because I like to.
It's not a business, you know.
Yeah.
It's not something that makes money. It's something that it's an investment into
because we care.
Help. Yeah, exactly. That's why we do it. You know, because it is a lot of work and resources to create this show, and
but we want to help people.
Yeah, and just the transparency and the
vulnerability.
To do that. We don't have to put ourselves out here. So, yeah. So when we say share it, like we're not saying it because it's like we get paid when we share it. It's because
share to help people.
Yeah. All right. We'll see you next week.
Bye.